Hi, everybody. This is Addison Shonland at AirInsight, and I'm very happy to introduce my guest today, Mr. Hiro Yamamoto, who is the CEO of MHIRJ in Canada. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today, sir.
Thank you so much for your invitation.
So I think we should probably start with, this is your first interview with anybody in the media, and we're very honored that you're having a conversation with us. Could you give us a little bit of the background and the purpose of Mitsubishi buying the CRJ program?
Certainly. Well, first of all, the honor is mine, and thank you so much for this opportunity. And indeed, the acquisition of the CRJ program offered Mitsubishi the opportunity to benefit from the experience of the employees in the program, including the customer service, engineering, marketing, and commercial teams. Certainly, when the acquisition was first considered, it was, in part to benefit the SpaceJet program, which required all of the skills that CRJ team could bring. But even after the strategic pose announced last year by Mitsubishi for the SpaceJet, the MHIRJ strategy for aerospace, especially the life cycle management, actually still is valid, and I am totally with it. I have been actually just pushing that part of the business growth opportunity inside of Mitsubishi, so I'm very honored to be part of it.
So how has the acquisition worked out so far? Is it meeting MHI's requirements?
I don't want to brag about it, but it's way beyond the expectation that we had in Mitsubishi. Given this a COVID-19 situation, Mitsubishi last year, when they have decided, finally the March-April timeframe for the final decision to go ahead with the acquisition, they were a little bit jittery that what is going to happen in this COVID-19, what is going to happen to the aviation industry, but we have weathered this very difficult time frame, the past 10 plus months, a very, very successfully and very, very efficiently and smoothly. And so we have responded to every single expectation of Mitsubishi, and I'm very proud of it, and I'm very proud to be part of that team.
What we have noticed is certainly in the North American market, but specifically the US, that regional jet flying has stayed quite robust during the pandemic.
Yep.
Obviously, with low load factors, those were the right airplanes to utilize. So what can you tell us about how the CRJ usage has gone from your perspective?
Well, as you pointed out, Edison, that the CRJ fleet did better than was indeed expected in the face of the pandemic. Early on in the pandemic, it was not clear what the impact would be. But from the past experience, in these crisis type of situation, generally, we believe that the regional jet actually comes back quicker than the others, and than the larger aircraft. And so that's indeed what has happened. So the level of the regional CRJ utilization today in North American continent is somewhere around 75–80% pre-COVID. So it is a far better than any other fleet in operation. So that certainly helps us to weather this very difficult time frame.
While we're talking about the CRJ fleet, do you have any idea of how many of the 700s will become 550s?
Well, it's very difficult to tell because with the specific numbers. Certainly that the CRJ 700 converted into 50-seaters makes good sense to some operators with certain operation constraints. But however, and also 50-seaters certainly is going to be a good feed for certain route in the United States market. Certainly that would be required for the future as well. And the fleet that is serving right now in that particular field is CRJ200. The youngest of that aircraft is 15 years old. So certainly replacement would should be considered. However, I guess the some of those 50-seaters market can be served well with the 700. So that CRJ 700 will be the one that is going to be needed. So the combination of the switch towards 550 and the current configuration of 700 would actually serve the market well. That's how we see it.
And what is the perception within your company and your team really of the 50-seater RJ market? Is it still going away? Is there still good potential for that size?
Yep, I think so. Well, as sort of reported yesterday and then issued by United Airlines, they are going to be introducing into their fleet the narrow body aircraft, but certainly they're going to also probably maintain the CRJ 550 and those smaller aircraft which serves for their feed in the regional field. So that actually is a showing that even in this changing industry situation, still 50 seaters will be very much needed in the market.
I think one of the things that observers like myself are really intrigued about is the CRJ has an amazing history, and this year was a special birthday for the program.
Yes.
What other kind of updates would you consider for the CRJ to keep it economically effective against its competitor?
Of course, we are always looking at improvement of the fleet, and also technical feature is something that certainly is going to be eye-catching, and always it's something that is going to be good to talk about. But at the same time, that for the operators and airlines, how we can effectively maintain and service the aircraft either by way of MRO services or the emergency responses, part supply and availability, and either that is new or used, or component repair, all these things. That's a overall life cycle management and life cycle support is the key for the longevity of the aircraft, where I think first of all that our main focus lies. But of course, there are other areas how we can improve the aircraft in small STCs to the bigger ones. We are talking about all these things internally. At least at this moment, it's not necessarily something that I'm allowed to speak publicly about. But there are certainly lots of things that we have in our mind and in our pipelines.
That's good to hear. So the market currently has one new build source for the regional jets, but of course not just the airlines, the lessors, they don't like a monopoly, and that means obviously there's got to be some kind of opportunity. And MHI with the SpaceJet had a program and a project, but that of course, as you mentioned, is now on hold. What are customers saying to you about the opportunity that exists to come up with something to ensure there's no monopoly in the industry? And in terms of the global market, the MHIRJ team is like the only game in town as a place to turn to. So what do you guys do about that? Is that an opportunity you can execute on and exploit?
Thank you, Edison. I think to be very honest with you, that's one of the sort of a question that I have been expecting to hear from the customers, and it should be that logically there's no doubt that the customers market will want to see the sort of multiple players competing each other to make sure that the competitive market will actually bring in the value to everybody. However, and also if that's the situation which requires our participation, that's certainly something that I would like to take advantage of. However, currently what I'm hearing primarily from our customers and operators is that they want their fleet back in operation. So if I were really asked the question, what exactly is our primary focus of our conversation with our customers, that's actually how we serve to feed back into services for the operators. So I'm not really trying to just to dodge the bullet by saying, oh, I'm not talking about these things. And I really do think that this is something that we need to address when really the right time comes. But today, particularly, that my focus is more towards bringing the aircraft back to the operation for the benefit of our operators.
Okay, so if we look beyond the pandemic and let's say the market is recovering, obviously in the US very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I just got back from a trip and I was amazed. Everything, even a red-eye flight overnight, was packed. Well, I mean, it's good for the airline industry. As a passenger, of course, back to being squeezed so tight is not so great, but okay.
Right.
What should we expect from MHIRJ looking forward? What I understand that you're not going to be able to give me any secrets, but what can you share by way of a vision?
Well, once again, our primary focus right now, and even beyond the COVID pandemic, the very big part of the acquisition is to try to really be serving for the life cycle management of the aircraft for the industry. So, of course, being an OEM is a very big endeavor, and which Bombardier and Mitsubishi, Bombardier has been successfully doing, and Mitsubishi somehow has stalled somehow. But that's something that is going to be a very good part of the industry value chain. However, the life cycle management, how we are going to actually create the value for the customers, industry, market, and ourselves, and also for our trade partners, including supply chain, that's a very, very big business, which I see a huge opportunity. So from Mitsubishi, you can somehow feel like it's a conglomerate of a machinery manufacturing company. I still like to just present to the market that MHI Mitsubishi is not only just a supplier of those equipment, but rather serving as a lifetime partner to the users of these machines and aircrafts and those. So I am really trying to develop that notion and that perception to our customers by always working together with our customers with the product that we have proudly introduced into the market. And also, not only our own product, if we can actually create value and also make our customers feel that there is a value with working with us, even the product that we may not have actually supplied, still that's something that we can provide the services for them. So that's the aftermarket business I'm trying to just to leverage and see how we can be of value. Of course, aside from these aftermarket business creation and the value creation, I certainly would see that our background as an OEM and also we are technology behind ourselves, both from a CLJ business unit and also from the Mitsubishi Heavy Industries. We would like to provide a platform of the new technology which is going to be forthcoming. Either that is a alternative fuel or the hydrogen, electricity, or any form of a probably environmentally friendly, decarbonizing sort of solutions to the market and to the future of humankind. So I think that's something that we would like to produce and also to present ourselves as a platformer of those upcoming technologies.
And does the SpaceJet play anywhere into that vision?
Well, that's a difficult one because obviously right now SpaceJet itself is a strategic pose. So whether Mitsubishi is going to use this sort of a platform for it or else, there are lots of ways to think about it. So I probably may not be able to really. I'm not in the position to comment specifically upon the SpaceJet, but there are lots of ways to do it.
Okay, my final question is that the team that Mitsubishi acquired was, like you mentioned, the maintenance, but there was also a very talented marketing team, a lot of experience. That marketing team has now been put into a consulting group available to the industry.
Yep.
The maintenance makes sense, obviously, because it's supporting the product. If I were an airline and I was not flying CRJs, tell me why I would consider hiring the MHI consulting team.
Well, first, well, to be very honest with you, this commercial team headed by Mr. Colin Ball, even though it's a smaller than it used to be, as we were selling the aircraft for Bombardier, still it's a number of people who have got a huge network, good intelligence relationship and deep knowledge, analytic skills. So that's on one part, very, very important and critical to Mitsubishi have its own sort of marketing activities, either that is going to be related to specific to the aerospace business or probably else, because as you can probably imagine that lots of other Mitsubishi's field of operation does require this type of a specific knowledge and analytical skills and relationship worldwide. At the same time, however, the value is so huge. So we discuss internally, and so not only using it for our internal resources and our own internal value creation, why can't we just, monetize it by way of providing those services, as long as that's not going to be conflicting to our own interest. So it's the same thing for our engineering services. So we, of course, very much devoted to provide the services and the value to our customers in our fleet. However, if we are to be value to any of the industrial partners or customers, one way or the other, we are very open to work with the people, because that is going to be something that we can provide the value to them, but that is going to be a huge learning opportunities for ourselves as well.
So from the Mitsubishi side, it seems just from my perspective that there's an enormous learning process underway within the Mitsubishi structure about the regional airliner business, which perhaps SpaceJet didn't have.
Absolutely. And also on top of that, the Mitsubishi's primary aerospace business so far has been, of course, aside from defense, that we do have aerostructure, sort of a tier one type of business. So that this addition is going to add a further holistic and more one step ahead of perspective to our business opportunity, business executions. So it has been a great probably sort of a addition to the ability that Mitsubishi originally had. And once again, I'm very proud of being part of that team in this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your time.